Welcome to Tech Squawk, where we discuss how you can maximize the use of your tech stack and how you can achieve zero marketing waste. This is our newest series here at One Leg, where we serve a tech Neapolitan to all users of platforms such as Lead Perfection, Salesforce, MarketSharp, i360, and more. You name it, we let you taste it and enjoy. I'm Casey Urias, and today we are having a gathering of the tech alchemists. We also include Stephen White. So, Stephen, how are things going with you today?
Things are fantastic. It is a beautiful 85-degree day, February, and you know what? You would think it's still. Some people say it's still winter, but gosh darn, it feels like summer already.
Well, where we are in nice sunny California, everybody else is wrong and we're right. And so obviously it is now summer for the rest of the year. That's just how things go around here.
Right. I feel like I detect a hint of sarcasm in there.
It's just like you've seen videos of everybody in the snow, and it just doesn't pertain to me, man. It's like I'm in a tank top over here. All right, so now that we've gotten through the pleasantries, I do want to talk to you about something that most people don't think about in conjunction with technology, mainly creative thinking. You can have a platform that does everything from keep track of your clients to managing your dresser drawer, but what's the point if you don't have anything good to say, right? Today we want to approach creative thinking.
Or where.
Right. We want to approach creative thinking when speaking with a client over the phone, and the basic do's and don'ts of a call center rep. And even though we are typically known as the tech heads of the group, we also have an experienced call center, well, I guess you should say ex-experienced call center manager in our midst to give you some credit, Stephen. And he's going to be the one that's going to be walking us through how to best speak to your clients today.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Casey. And just to piggyback off what you were saying, when it comes to technology, it's really only as good as your users. You can plan and try to prevent the errors, but at the end of the day, if the training isn't there, if the users aren't providing that customer journey, especially on the phone, then your technology is just not going to. It can't bridge all the gaps. It can bridge some of the gaps, but not all of the gaps.
That's why people are needed.
Put the right words.
Yeah, humans are still needed in order to tell the computer what good stuff to spit out. And of course, you can organize that with technology, but if you don't have a script, you're going to be sending them the same stuff as everybody else. So, like, picture a system like a massive supercomputer that can contact everybody in the world. What would you tell that computer to say, right? Obviously that's an over-exaggeration, but if you had this capability to contact everyone in the world, would you be saying, oh, we have a deal for 50% off installation? Like, is that compelling? I don't know.
Yeah, so if you lead, and I don't want to go too deep into it yet. I'd rather share with my screen and show you exactly what we're getting at here. But just to kind of give you, and I know you've already kind of have an idea of what we're going to be talking about. I think it's a little quick break, especially from tech. We ran a survey, and after listening to what some of the people that listen to our podcast, some of their feedback, they're not always hungry for tech. They're looking for other options as well, and that's why we decided to kind of take this offshoot and go into some of these other topics. So I think that the information today is going to provide a great basis, especially for a lot of startups out there. These are the things that kind of come over time when there isn't a plan. We like to refer to it as tribal knowledge. There's no standards, there's no operating procedures. It's just, when you talk on the phone, you get them to sign up. And then once you do build a script, it's very focused on just kind of like what you've heard. And what you've heard is definitely not the way to sell people, especially not when you're talking to somebody on the phone. It comes off very salesy.
Yeah.
Going into, like Casey mentioned, promotions, going straight into promotions, going straight into making huge promises. Enough talking. Let's show you some details. By the way, if you're on a computer and you're watching us, you're able to see exactly what we're looking at here. So that's what I would recommend if you have the time. If you're listening to the podcast audio wise, take the time, watch our video on YouTube, for our one leg Tech Squawk podcast, wherever the flamingo is found. Let me get into
All
it
right.
here.
So before you get started on that, I want to assume that all of you guys in the industry, especially with home improvement, are aware of the skeleton of a standard call. You have your introduction, you have your qualifying questions to see if you can even work with them. Then you are preparing for a visit. You have the terms and conditions you have to go over, and then you're actually setting the appointment. And pretty much everybody who has worked in a call center are familiar with the skeleton, right? So what we want to do is talk about how some people have manifested their work onto the skeleton and how we recommend doing it in a way that's more engaging. Just because, believe it or not, and I'm going to out you a little bit here, Stephen. So don't get too startled. But Stephen has made the habit of anytime somebody calls his phone that he knows is a telemarketer or somebody calling to sell him things, he goes ahead and he answers the phone and listens to the script every single time. It doesn't even matter if we could be talking about like how we're going to be making $1 million tomorrow. If he sees one of those calls coming in, he's like, oh, hold on a second, I have to take this. And he will make sure to have a full conversation with that person and get an idea of what's out there in the world right now. So go ahead and start talking about what we got on the screen here.
Sure. You got it. And yeah, it is true. I definitely spend some time talking to telemarketers that call me. It's exciting, it's a fun practice to kind of get back into it. And especially, it's been a minute since I've been in the call center, and it's good to know that, you still got it. Even just the other day, I had a long conversation with one of these telecommunications companies that provides my internet access. And without naming any names, they tried to really mess up my internet. But at the end of that phone call, I'll tell you, I got what I wanted and I got more, just because I'm just that kind of guy on the phone, I suppose.
So good, but that's just anyways, how you felt. But I doubt it.
Yeah, maybe. So I want to start off with obviously the introduction, because the introduction is where that's the bread and butter of conversion. If you're going to get anybody to sign up, if you can get past those first like 3-4 seconds, it's going to snowball into a real conversation. And you're going to start having a better and better chance of signing this person up for whatever your company is selling. If it's going to be like home improvement projects, if it's going to be, maybe it's just getting somebody to, I don't know, clean your home or something. I don't know why that came to mind, but
service or shipping products, anything that you are trying to sell another person.
Exactly. So the things I would not do, common mistakes we'll call them, is using a overused introduction. Something you hear every time you answer the phone, and they're starting off with, we're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. They'll say, hello, is Mr. Stephen White available? Or they'll say, hello, this is Stephen calling from Home Improvement Store X. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today? It's obviously a cold call. They kind of have this air about them, and it's always the same script. So you can smell it from a mile away. And honestly, if I weren't the person I am, I would hang up on these people in an instant. Casey, can you?
And honestly, it's really bizarre because you can tell with the tone of voice. I'm not trying to rat on call center people, obviously, because I've also worked that job in the past. But when they call and they're like, hi, this is Blake calling from this company. Who do I have the pleasure with speaking with today? It's like, if you're asking, like, if you're saying the pleasure with speaking with, and you're saying that multiple times a day, it's like an oxymoron. They are not, nobody's having a pleasant time in this conversation by this point, right? So what's the right way to do it, Stephen?
Yeah. Well, so there's a couple ways we can approach this. The best way is to kind of assume that you're speaking to the correct person. If you're calling and you know the lead you're calling is a male, or if you know they're a female and you hear a male or a female sounding voice, just assume it's the person you've got on the phone. So like say you're calling a John, you've got John's number, and you hear a male answer the phone, someone with a deeper voice. Hello, John, this is Steven. Automatically, that introduction is going to provide the context for continuing the conversation. And it's a lot of confidence, and this doesn't come automatically. It's with a lot of practice. So, sometimes this involves like some additional preparation, kind of going over these things with your call center reps. And the preparation really does pay in dividends, especially on the introduction, because somebody that hasn't prepared, they're calling and they give these weak openings. They're hung up right away. So that's step one of the conversation.
When you introduce yourself and you assume that you know the other person, at what point do you bring up what company you're calling from? So that way they have like better context.
You're going into it, right? It's honestly the second step. So, hi, this is Steven. I wouldn't even introduce myself right away. Hello, John, this is Steven. Is this a bad time? So you kind of need them to start off with, and I say, is this a bad time, which is kind of counterintuitive to what you would normally say. Is this a good time to talk? Or is this a bad time to talk? What's better? So there's an entire psychological background behind using is this a bad time? Because when you're saying, is this a bad time? You're trying to get them to say the word no. They're saying, no, it's not a bad time. Who is this? Right? No, just getting them to say no. And this is like a human psychology aspect where once they've said no, they're starting to feel a little bit more calm because they've given you their objection right out the gate. They're like, okay, I've said no to this person once. And although it's not the no of I'm going to hang up, which is what people usually like to do. It's the no of like, no, they feel more in control of the conversation, but psychologically they feel in control. You are honestly the one that's still in control. I'm getting too deep into the psychology.
I think long story short, it's like if somebody comes up to your door and says, hi, I'm this person, and then just starts walking in your house, you're like, wait, hold up. But if you say, hi, I'm this person from this company, may I come in? At least you're doing them the courtesy of asking, can I continue the conversation? And they're like, oh yeah, no, it's not a bad time. Yeah, you can continue the conversation. It's fine. What's going on?
Right. And that kind of brings us into, you start to introduce yourself. A lot of the times, especially if you're in an FCC compliant company, you want to make sure you're saying this, whatever your company specific points are. It's this like
call is being on.
Hi, this is
Steven,
on a recorded
line to ensure quality and training purposes. That kind of whole business, and that is by law. Yeah. You have to say that.
Yeah, cool. You do. Just is that okay with you? They say yes, and then you continue the conversation. But what comes next is really important. It's going into essentially the qualification. Usually this leaves a little bit warm, especially if you're calling to like one of the other companies that provides leads. They aren't coming out of nowhere. They filled out a form most of the time, and they're having at least a little bit of interest in whatever it is you're trying to get them to sign up for. Qualification is extremely important. What I hear a lot of, especially in home improvement companies that are starting out, is these monologue focused scripts. Now, monologuing, I know you've heard about it. If you've seen a play or a movie, it's when the main character or one of the characters decides to just talk for a block of time, like I'm doing right now, but even worse because they're not me. No, the monologue I'm talking about is something like, do you know our company provides excellent this, that, and the other thing? And if you sign up today, we've got this amazing deal for 50%. Honestly, I almost stopped listening to myself. I got a little bored there, just coming up with that script. So the way to not do that, the way to avoid the monologuing, is to have a call center that's more focused on the customer, like how we focus on providing no marketing waste and providing a good customer experience. Dialogue focused conversation, because you're not going to get anywhere if you just force them. If you try to force them into submission of an appointment, that appointment's going to cancel, right? So we want to try to provide this kind of dialogue. Have you ever had a call where somebody has a long conversation with you?
Oh yeah,
Casey?
definitely. And the thing is like my most common calls that I get because of the industry I've been in for so long is, hey, we want to improve your home. We have somebody in the area right now. We can send them out right this second. Do you want to get your roof done? Do you want to get your floors done? And they go into this whole thing asking me 1,000 questions, and they haven't even realized yet that I'm not a homeowner because they never asked me. The only thing they said is this Cassandra? And then they proceeded to tell me 500 facts about their company, which took like 3 minutes for them to spit out. And I don't even know, like, they don't even know that I can't even do a project with them yet. And that sucks because they just wasted their time and my time. And the other part of it is when they are monologuing, I notice they do tend to get bored because they've been doing this all day. If you're going to have a call, like people, when you think of calling somebody on the phone, you think of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's an engaging conversation. So you're like, okay, I know that you signed up with insert lead aggregator here, and you said you were interested in doing your floors. Is that correct? Yes or no? And then they go on from there. It's like, all right, well, what are you looking to get done? Then they have to answer that. Okay, what part of the house is it in? Then they'd answer that. Okay, are you still looking to get it done right now? Is there any sort of like urgency that you need to have it done, or can this wait a long time? And this one is really fun. This is something that Vic taught me a while back when I was talking to people, is you kind of have to be like, okay, well, it sounds like you want to get your work done, but now you're saying you don't want to meet for a while. How important is this to you? Because it sounds like you don't actually really want to do your project. It's sort of reverse psychology, and they're just like, oh no, I do want to do my project, but it's a bad time, and blah blah blah. It's like, it's a bad time. We'll call you back another time, or you can call us back and then just let us know when you want to do it. It's like, well, hang on, I had some questions for you. You kind of flip the script on them. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I actually do want to do my project because, boy, that thing that you were mentioning about mold, yeah, the mold's gotten bad. You're like, oh, really? Tell me about that. Have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, and I think you're getting to one of the things I wanted to bring up here, which is when you mention things like mold. If they are reaching out to someone for help, there's a reason for filling out the form or calling the lead service. They saw something that spoke to them in that moment, and even if this lead has gone what you would call like cold, if it's been a week or two, right? They haven't committed to a specific sales rep. There's this kind of stigma behind leads that are older than, let's say, a month. They're probably already bought it with somebody. You're calling them and you've got this mindset of, I'm not even going to, why am I even calling this person? Let me just, fine. It's kind of like you're already assuming that you're not going to do well on this phone call. It's the worst way to start off a phone call. Focusing on the pain. And when I say pain, I mean the reason for their original phone call, for their original lead request. They say, I'm not interested, especially falling for this not interested. It's fake. But you can say, well, what made you reach out in the first place? When you were first reaching out, what caused you to fill out that form? Sometimes that would strum up some kind of, they might recall the moment, I was thinking about, I was worried about my mom. She's getting older, and we got this tub she's got to climb over into. Oh my gosh, I'm so I hear about this all the time. We deal about this kind of stuff all the time. I worry for my mom as well. You start getting into this kind of rhythm where you're relating to the person, creating real rapport. You're working with their pain. That's the kind of conversation that's going to really echo with them, and that they're going to remember when it does come time for that appointment. You're not going to show up to an empty home. You're going to show up to a real person that actually does want to learn more about the product of your company.
I see that you got like fake rapport on the list too. And that's, like, what's that about? Like, can you run that by me? An example of fake?
Fake, yeah, absolutely. So fake rapport is So this is the person that's like a yes man. Yes man being the person that's just oh, wow, that's really interesting. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have a dog too. Like if you mention something, anything human related that has to pertain to yourself, they jump on it. They're like so excited to talk about. This is when the conversation kind of stagnates a little bit. And they're like, oh, let me go get the door. Someone's knocking at the door. Like, oh, I have a front door too. People knock on my front door, like useless. Just there to really fill the conversation void, to make you feel like, I'm a human, you're a human. We can come to your home.
That's great.
It's cringy. It's like kind of like you're the, and that's what I hear a lot of, especially with kind of like these larger companies that, maybe they have lost the kind of personal touch. As a company grows, usually this happens after the first, 5-10 employees. You've got somebody that's not directly involved with the sales process or not directly involved with the installation process. They don't know all the information, so they just kind of fill the void with just, like I mentioned, fake rapport. They don't know about bathrooms. They don't know about kitchens. They just kind of handle scheduling and things like this. If they don't know about it, they're just gonna fill the void. All right,
that makes sense. But how do you segment it in? Because this is this is going to be like the meat of it, right? So as you're giving this person time, space, effort, isn't that a risk as well? Because you're running into, okay, well, when are you going to stick the appointment in there, right? Because that's the main goal. You want to get the appointment.
Well, may I make a suggestion?
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Stephen. Go ahead and make that suggestion.
No, you're good. That's actually how I would segment it. That's a line I use a lot of the time when I'm talking to people on the phone. May I make a suggestion? And the suggestion is, you know what? You've got this amazing, you got this project coming up. What we can do is XYZ. You pretty much just map out exactly what that person's going to be experiencing over the course of an appointment. So usually this includes coming out to the home, taking an accurate measurement and assessment, and providing all your options, showing you a bunch of things, and then giving you an accurate quote. And this is all at no cost to you. So there's a few things there, kind of like framing that, we are a company that's trustworthy. We provide you with all this information and it's all free for you. Does that sound like a bad idea? They say, no, it's not too much of a bad idea. We're using that no factor again, or that we're trying to kind of get them to say no instead of yes, because the yes model is overused. We'll say this is
because it almost feels like you're making a commitment.
Any thoughts,
right?
Casey?
Because you're saying yes over and over again. It's like, oh crap, I'm already knee deep in this thing. I need to cut it off right here. And it's funny because some people, they start to get to the actual part where they're saying the terms and the conditions of the appointment, and then they realized, oh snap, I am about to book an appointment. Wait a minute. And that's where the second fall off. Well, actually, I guess this would be the third or fourth fall off happens, right? Like people all of a sudden are like, wait a minute, you roped me in really seamlessly. What's going on? Right.
And I want to note that on the course of this conversation, I haven't asked for an appointment yet. Honestly, I mean, like up to this point, right? We finally asked for an appointment. Well, we've had a long conversation. They've bought into this conversation. Usually, most of the time, this person's bought into the conversation. At least bought in enough to continue the conversation with me. If we go for this too quickly, you come off really desperate for an appointment. And especially when you're going for the appointment right away, that's where you get that first drop off. Like if the introduction is, hi, my name is Steven. Let's come out for an appointment. Oof, no. People will hang up on you right away. That's where
like
your conversion's
going to drop. Somebody walking up
drop
to you at a bar
immensely.
And be like, what's cooking good looking? It's like, come on, guy. Like, that's not how you go about it. It's like, clearly you're interested because you're talking to me, right? You just assume that and then talk to them like a freaking person.
Absolutely.
All right, so go ahead.
Absolutely. Now, we've been going on for quite a bit, going about all this, preparing for the visit. I just want to get down to the terms, really, just to make sure that we're talking to all the homeowners, giving us that direct amount of time, just making sure they're not giving us like 10 minutes to walk in. Because some people do say, maybe they have reached out to an aggregator that provides the leads, because some of them do this. They give the lead to like 3 different people and they're just like, all right, everybody, good luck. They sell it to 3 different reps, right? And then we're all fighting for the same lead. So frustrating. And I hear about it all the time. So instead of running into a one-leg appointment, you want to make sure you have all the homeowners available. One way to do this is to just have a really solid commitment. And I'm over here over the terms of the appointment, a solid commitment that all homeowners are going to be there for whatever amount of time you require for your sales reps. Usually I hear about 60 minutes, sometimes more, sometimes less. But honestly, we're only going to be out there for as long as you need us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Very simple, very straightforward. And you're kind of leaving it in the air that, the sales rep's going to be able to kind of, be there for as long as they need to make sure they're able to take those measurements and complete the sales process.
So how do you sneakily ask about the homeowners if they're going to be all available or not?
Well, I'd be straightforward, Hey, in order to provide you with this free, amazing visit, we just want to make sure we have all the homeowners available for.
Yeah, I'll be there.
60 minutes. Great. Oh, see, this is another thing, right? So I'll be there. And this is what I have written on my screen. Questionable language. So that just means I'll be there, to me, is kind of like a lying through omission situation. They're saying I'll be there. What they mean is only I will be there. So something I would ask to that, Casey, is, oh, you'll be there? I have your name here as a homeowner. Is there anyone else who you value that would be joining you for that appointment?
That's really good. Who you value, not even like a spouse, not even a sister, not even a family member, just someone who you value their opinion. I'm sure that there's somebody who you value, right? That's good. It's more open-ended.
Sometimes we get some odd answers to that. But
tell me one. Just one.
Learn if they have someone they value. Just me and my dog. Just me and my dog will be there.
Oh yeah, well they value the dog's opinion, obviously.
Yeah. Right. And I even go a step further. Okay, you and your dog and anybody else, you're really digging in at this point. And sometimes people get a little offended that we even ask. But gosh darn it, I want to make sure I'm giving that sales rep every opportunity to not run into that one leg appointment, that dreaded, one person appointment. Oh, I would make a decision today, but honestly, I have to ask my husband. That
like,
kind of thing.
What?
So frustrating. It's a waste of gas. Waste of
I can
time.
handle this myself, but I really need to consult my neighbor about this first. It's like,
oh my! Sometimes that does happen. And the last thing, I know we're almost coming up to our 30-minute mark here, is the button up, the final section of setting up that appointment. It gets it's a little over the top to be excited about the appointment, but just kind of adding a little bit of emphasis to, oh man, we're so excited to meeting you. It's going to be really great. Sometimes it comes off as a little bit, I don't know, fake, but with the right delivery, I think that it's possible to kind of like, it's contagious sometimes. So you kind of get them to be a little bit excited about, yeah, you know what? I'm excited to find out more about how I can keep my mom safe in the home, and kind of bringing up the points that they've brought up before, especially when it pertains to, personal things. At this point, hopefully you've built some real rapport with them, so you can bring this up without sounding, I don't know, fake, right? This is where you get them to commit. Would it be terrible if you took out your phone and maybe entered your appointment information real quick? Ideally, you wouldn't have to ask them to do that. You could say, you're going to get an email with an ICS file. You're going to get an email with this information. So you just click a button and add it to your calendar. That's where we come in, right? The Tech Squawk team, making sure that these people are able to very easily.
Yes, but if you do not have a lovely Tech Squawk team as of yet to help you make those appointment booking times and commitments better for your team or better for your client, a better client experience, the best way to go about it is just like what Stephen was saying, was just have them take out their phone and say, hey, you got a calendar on your phone? Yes, no. Do you have a calendar on your wall? Okay. Do you put your appointments on those calendars? Great. This appointment's at this date and this time. I want to make sure you have it written down. You wouldn't believe how far that goes.
Yeah. And sometimes it's effective. A lot of the times, we just They're like, I'll remember. I keep it all up in my head, and then you show up to an empty home. So, being able to bridge that gap between technology and real life is what will help to solidify
and
your
even
appointments.
Even though you are trying to make the sale, you want to give the impression of you're there to help, because in reality, you are there to help. You're going to be making their home better, and in return, you are going to be getting a sale. So if you go in with that mindset, like, say you're speaking to your grandma or your cousin or something, and you're like, oh yeah, you work in a home improvement company, and I'm trying to get like this work done. You guys do that, right? Talk to them like you're talking to somebody that you know well, and it usually flows a lot easier. If somebody starts getting nervous, just be like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm just talking to somebody, and if they're really not interested, they're going to tell me. And if they are interested, then we can proceed with the conversation. Just got to be casual about it. Be casual, be cool. Those guys like the greasers with the jackets on, they come in, they're like, hey, want to hang out this afternoon? No? Whatever. That's fine. Got to be the cool guy of your call center. Anyways, I'm going. There you go.
Play hard to get.
I'm starting to go off on another area, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up for us. That's it for us today. We hope you enjoyed your chat and learned a couple of things. As always, we here at One Leg believe that poor marketing pollutes the planet, and that businesses is full of tired, outdated, indistinct, unremarkable, and underperforming marketing that sucks. But what sucks even more is that many companies have forgotten the most important thing of all, which is the customer. We're on a mission on behalf of client customers to change that. To learn more, go to zeromarketingwaste.com, where you can subscribe to our blog and this very podcast. You can also find us by looking for Mingo the Flamingo anywhere that you listen to your podcast, and the One Leg handle wherever you socialize online. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, week, month, year, and whatever, and we'll talk to you next time.